8 tracks. Everybody claims to have used them, everyone claims to know how they work, and everyone claims to say that they're horrible. So while I do agree to some of that, it really is a horrible technology. I'm actually not sure that as many people that say they know all about it actually know much about it, because you know, I've talked to a lot of older people and a lot of people that I know that had 70s cars and such, and some of them had an 8-track deck, but actually a lot of them didn't even use it. It was never really an audiophile grade technology, but anyways, it's definitely notable, and I think pop media and culture criticizes 8 tracks, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it here. For starters, I want to talk about these speakers I'm playing it on. These are $2 Bose speakers I picked up at Goodwill, and this is a testament that you can find anything at a thrift store for a good price. Those are about $50 if you buy them new. Right here we're playing the best of the Beatles, and this is on a unit by the company of Project One. Notice how it says solid state. Anytime you see solid state, you know that it's from the 70s because it was a transitional period between tubes and transistors. So this is a transistorized unit. This is a record deck, so it actually records if you want to feed it an input. It's got VU meters, it's got adjusting record levels, and you can also tell it whether you want to play one track or repeat all of them. It's got fast forward and has a motorized eject as well. So this unit seems to work just fine, and in fact the audio on this sounds very, very good for an 8-track. Here's another example. Not too bad actually. I mean, if you were to put this up to something more modern, like a CD or an MP3, no, it wouldn't sound nearly as good, but it's not too bad. One thing to note is while these are called 8 tracks, there's actually 4 programs, okay? So you actually have 4 channels that go at any given time, but because you have a left and a right speaker, each program has a left and a right, so you take 2 times 4, that's how you get 8-track, okay? So that's a little bit of history there if you didn't understand why, because you can, in a cycle, let me turn this volume up here. If I hit this, it'll go to the next program. Here's the next program. Here's the next one. And here's the next. And they repeat. I mean, it cycles through. But because you have a left and a right speaker, that's 2 tracks per program. That's why they call it an 8-track. So anyways, that's the Project One. That one's actually a very good unit, and I acquired that from a friend a couple years ago. Very good unit, and it records. Let's go ahead and hook up this next one. This here is a Panasonic, and I got this when I was around 13 years old at a garage sale in Downers Grove. This one's is same type of deal. This one actually records too. It's got VU meters, it's got controls. Let me go ahead and change the program here. Right now it's on 1. We can change what we want to hear. Okay, if we want to fast forward, we can hit fast forward, it mutes it, and then we turn it off, it'll come back on. The sound on this is not nearly as good, and I have a feeling it's because the capacitors inside here are starting to go. I've never actually opened this up. So anyways, and the speed sounds a little bit off too. So, but anyways, that's a Panasonic version, and this is probably mid-70s as well. I can tell that by the logo. This is probably mid-70s because there was a much older logo that they used before that. I'm going to go ahead and hit eject, and it pushes the tape out. So it's similar to the Project One. They both have an electronic eject function. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my RCA out. And this unit right here is very, very unusual, much more rare, in that it's a quad 8-track player. Quad is another technology that people talk about and seem to know a lot about, but people don't really have ever had it. I mean, who's actually owned a quad unit? Quad basically it's a 4-channel system where you'd have basically primitive sound, surround sound, not what you have out today, but it was something that they tried in the 70s. This particular unit will play quad tapes, it'll play regular tapes. And so when I go over here, it actually records regular tapes, and here's levels. And you know, you could do continuous play or do the electronic eject. You can fast forward and play back. But there's a selector here. It says 2-channel or 4-channel. And if you actually had a quad deck, you could, or I'm sorry, a quad tape, you'd hit this button. It goes to 4-channel, and then it would actually play in quad. But because I don't own any quad tapes, it only stays in 2-channel because it's left and right only. This is the best of this is John Denver's Back Home Again. Let's see, let's put this back in here. Not the best sound. I think this one also probably could use some new capacitors, but it does work mechanically just fine. And this unit records, as I said, it records and is very similar to the one over here, except the one on the right is a quad. And it plays in quads. So one of these days I'll have to try to get some quad 8 tracks. I picked these different 8 tracks up at various thrift stores. We got Grease, we've got Kiss, AC/DC, Barry Manilow, there's some Blues Brothers, and there's Fleetwood Mac. So anyways, not the best sounding, not the best technology because you can't rewind, you can only fast forward a tape. So, hope you found this interesting to see these 3 players. We'll talk to you later.